meteorologist Hunter Ward coming to you. It is the Sunday before Christmas, and we are watching a interesting front that's going to be coming through. We've actually got three separate items that we're watching through Christmas, all with chances of wintry weather for Western North Carolina. How exactly that unfolds, the models are still somewhat far apart on where lows track, so we'll do our best to kind of hammer out those details, but we'll continue to do updates for you this week as we get closer to the events. First thing we'll talk about is Tuesday. Tuesday looks to be somewhat icy, and then that Arctic front comes through on Thursday night into Friday, mainly Friday morning, and could bring some snowfall with it as well. But let's go ahead and turn around to my computer. We want to thank CP Cruz and Company and Farm Bureau Insurance. Ethan Bonner is our featured agent from Farm Bureau Insurance today. Looking around town, a little bit chilly this morning on your Better Homes and Gardens real estate Canton camera there, and then you've got your Better Homes and Gardens Bryson City camera as well. Those will all begin to get active. BannerElk.com live camera and your Grimes Tice Anderson camera. Those are all featured on the main page. If you look on this Banner Elk camera, you could see a few snow showers every now and then moving in and out of the area as that northwest flow kind of sets in. But looking around town, Affairs of the Hearts, downtown Waynesville camera, blue skies in most of those areas, Blaylock Excavation camera here as well, Lynn Freeman Bush Realtor out in Hendersonville. This is the Hendersonville downtown camera. Marthaler Jewelers, this is your Hendersonville Road camera in Fletcher. All these are going to be lighting up with some type of wintry weather. So watch for those over the next several days. This Country Fields Swannanoa camera, be nice to be able to see the traffic moving on I-40 or if it's stopped. So check in on all those, AshevilleWX.com/WNC webcam. So let's go ahead, turn to the NAM. So this is a short range model that we use. Couple short range models that we'll get a little bit more in depth into over the next couple days. I'll start doing regular updates as the weather is projected to get more and more interesting over the week. So let's run this out. What's this low pop down here? So we're looking at this Gulf low. It's got a little bit of interaction with the northern stream, and but really that low kind of develops independently. This Gulf low, though, is going to take advantage of this high pressure here. And that high pressure is flowing cool air in at the surface. Not really in the upper levels, but at the surface as this low pressure moves in. This northern periphery of moisture is kind of what we're watching here as I've got my cursor over North Carolina. And let's actually go into a little bit more zoomed in view there as we pull up the locals. And just wanted to show you that low progress into here. But now, as you can see, beginning Tuesday morning, we'll begin to see some moisture begin to pop. Southwest, Western North Carolina, Franklin area, Andrews, Murphy. Some of you locations could see snow, could see sleet, could see freezing rain beginning Tuesday morning, and that could possibly coat the roadways. A lot of uncertainty with this as these models, these short-range models, are just getting a hold of that northern periphery. Sometimes we see this with our surprise systems that area to the north isn't modeled as well as what actually comes to fruition. But we're watching that as the day progresses Tuesday. Watch, more moisture continues to parade in. That high pressure is flowing in that cold air from the north, banking up against the mountains, getting as far as it can to the south and west of Asheville. Now, how far it actually goes depends on how strong the high pressure is, and we'll watch for that over the next couple of days. But run this out. Check out what this model does. I mean, this is the first time we've even seen winter weather into portions of North Carolina, but focusing on the Asheville area because that's where temperatures will be the coolest at. Look at this sounding. All right, I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to show you why we're not seeing snowfall here. Problem is that we don't have enough moisture in the snow growth area. That's this yellow area right here. It shows Right here, that's the cold area up in the atmosphere, usually around 0 degrees, where moisture is present and being lifted. That is where cloud seeding occurs. That is where you get the formation of snowflakes on condensation nuclei. Could get really in depth on that, but what you need to know is there's not enough moisture in this model to show snow. The moisture really fills in this lower level of the atmosphere. And that's where sleet can form, rain can freeze but not be snow under this level where the snow growth is not occurring. That's just a specific spot we track in meteorology, and as the event progresses, we kind of monitor that. So what you got, and then you have a little bit of a warm nose right here, around 5,000 feet or so. And then at the surface where that really cold air, you can see this is the high pressure funneling in that cold air at the surface. It gets all the way down to 28. That could create a mess on the roadway. So we've really got to watch for this, folks. I want to not caution you and alarm you, but wanted to let you know that these models, sometimes they don't get on top of these things until, 2 to 3 days ahead, which is why I've cautioned looking too far ahead with the system that's coming in later this week. I know there were models rolling around saying snow around Christmas, which is still on the table, but we've got to watch progress. Can't get too far in depth into one model or the other, and kind of have to have an objective opinion on what the general consensus is. Now, what we're seeing now with this Tuesday storm is most of the models developing that northern periphery of moisture. And so what that tells me as we get closer and closer to the event is that the chances are increasing for some type of icy weather around western North Carolina. So going to progress this model out for you. Here it shows, ice throughout the morning, early Wednesday morning, and then switching to rain as that low pressure gets a little bit closer, that high pressure retreats. And then all eyes will start to turn to that Arctic front that's going to move in early Friday morning is kind of what the timing looks like. Early to midday Friday. It really depends on where you're at, and models haven't nailed it down just yet. But let's talk about that. That's the next system that we're going to be moving on to. I'll move to the GFS, and we'll pull this out to a more national view here so you can kind of see what is going to happen, because we've got a piece of energy that moves in from the northern stream, we've got a piece of energy in the Gulf, and then we've got another piece in the Atlantic. So a lot of variables to keep track of. The models are definitely going to struggle with this, and I don't think we'll get a certain solution until sometime Tuesday or Wednesday. And still, there could be changes for that. So Tuesday, watch this. All right, so here you can see the GFS showing that moisture finally making it into western North Carolina. I can show you what this showed yesterday and did not have the same amount of moisture. I just pulled up another model and just didn't have that moisture that now it's showing. And so this was a model the other day, yesterday morning. Now this is this most recent, which we'll get a new run here in an hour or so. Here we go. Moisture on that northern periphery of the storm. So that's what we're watching for. I've forecast many of these events, and I've seen many surprises with these type systems. So watch for that. Not talking about a big snowfall, but a couple of inches could be possible, even for southwest, western North Carolina. The timing looks right for that. So watch for that as we progress. So focusing now on, you can watch, this model builds the moisture back in on Thursday. And there's just a lot of variables to keep track of. Watch as this Arctic front comes down. What happens here? What happens in the Gulf? Just a lot of variables to keep track of. And this Arctic front is anomalous. We don't see these all the time. So does the Gulf low develop? Do we have a cutter that many of the models have been showing here as of late? Or do we move back towards a Gulf solution where it transfers to the Atlantic? We'll see. Model right there transfers it very quickly from the Gulf to the middle of Tennessee. Could that happen? Yes. Are the models potentially struggling with what happens with the Appalachian Mountains here? Yes, I also think that is the case. So as I run this out, look at this front come through. This is Friday morning. All right, so right around 10 a.m. or so, it should be at your doorstep if you live in Franklin area, that farther southwest, western North Carolina. Front will arrive earlier. So depending on how this low tracks will really determine, what type of snow western North Carolina sees. Now, if it goes like what the GFS is showing, ends up around Ohio and doesn't go up the coast, then we'll mainly see northwest flow snow from this. If the model decides to pop this low on the coast instead of in and around the Ohio Valley, the situation will be much different for western North Carolina. Cold, certain. It looks to be Saturday morning like 7 degrees or so. So very nasty in and around western North Carolina as far as cold. All of those mechanisms, you need to be letting water drip. You've got to have, unplug or untwist those garden hoses. Don't allow those pipes to freeze because that will create a mess for you around your house. So do all of those things that need to be done. Cover the spout outside, but keep water flowing. It's going to get down very cold, single digits in the higher elevations, single digits around Asheville, negatives in the higher elevations. And then what comes to fruition here? Not really sure. We've got this seems to be the solution that the models are honing in on, of that low kind of traversing the apps instead of dipping under it. We call that a cutter. What really comes to fruition, though, we've seen these models waver, tremendously over the past several days. So we'll begin to watch for consistency over the next several days, but be mindful as we move forward that cold is really going to move through the area. Then, looking at Christmas Day around western North Carolina. Now, real far out, 7 days, so a lot can happen here, but the possibility for some snow showers as well as you wake up on Christmas morning here around western North Carolina. So keep in mind of that. I'll keep you updated on those. I will be traveling for Christmas, and so I want you guys to keep your reports coming whenever you see winter weather around your house. Make sure you're popping into the Asheville WX weather community on Facebook, putting your reports in, tag me in those, and make sure you follow along on Instagram at AVLWX. We've got our TikTok, Asheville WX, as well. And, of course, we'll be posting YouTube videos. Thank you guys for joining me. Just wanted to give you a little bit of information moving forward. We will have more as things become a little bit more clear over the next 36 hours. So check back for another update. I'll let you know what's going on. Thanks.